And this afternoon, a coaching matchup of two of the brilliant minds in the game. AFC Coach of the Year Chuck Knox turning it around now for three franchises: Seattle, Buffalo, and the LA Rams. And both Knox and Don Shula are coaches who seem to get more out of players. Shula looking to cap off another magnificent season in Miami. And it should be pointed out he is 8-4 lifetime against Knox. This is Norm Johnson getting set to kick off for the Seattle Seahawks. And there is Fulton Walker coming off a disappointing season. And a man who a year ago in a playoff game against Seattle fumbled two successive kickoffs late in the game that cost. Miami winning the toss and getting set to receive the kickoff from the All-Pro Norm Johnson. And it's picked up by one of the up men off the line drive kick. It's Bruce Hardy, the tight end, with a good return. The kicker, Norm Johnson, on the tackle of Hardy. So they were looking to keep it away from the deep man, Fulton Walker. He's lost some 17 pounds the last 3-4 days. Marino to put it up, first down. Tony Nathan out of the backfield where he's stopped by the inside linebacker, Keith Butler.
All pro players and in a very critical spot.
Second down play. Tony Nathan going outside. The first down. The right corner, Dave Brown, on the stop.
Now, Dwight Stevenson has been recognized, I think, throughout the league. He, with Mike Webster, as the two outstanding centers in this game, and he just stabilizes the whole offensive line for Miami, which only allowed Marino 14 sacks all year. That's enough statement in itself.
And a first down for the Dolphins at midfield. The swing for Nathan. And diagnosed perfectly by the Seahawks again. Keith Butler in his 7th year out of Memphis State on the stop.
You know, generally when you're throwing a screen, a quick screen in this case, you'd put a tackle or a guard out into the play. If you do put your center into the play, it's generally to slide gently and then get upfield. Now, with Stevenson, he is so quick, even though he's strong. They give him the responsibility of trying to get all the way outside to the cornerback. That time he wasn't able to do it. The play went for naught.
And it's a second down and 14. 7 defensive backs being utilized now by the Seahawks. Nathan stopped back behind the line. John Harris, the free safety, a local product out of Miami, and Paul Moyer, the extra defensive back, combining on the tackle.
The previous play, Joe Nash, number 72, held Dwight Stevenson from getting into the quick screen. This time he throws him aside, makes the play on Nathan, and actually creates a no-gain situation. 2 good plays in a row for Nash.
Dolphins line up in the slot left, and Moore in the slot. It's a third down and 10. Penalty flag throw. And Marino completing for the first down to Jimmy Cephalo. Pete Simpson on the stop, but a flag throw.
I'm sure the flag was on Jacob Green, who got off just before the ball was snapped. So Marino had an option on the play. Picked up Cephalo for a first down.
And the referee, Pat Haggerty, in his 20th year in the NFL, indicating the offside.
Dan's coming over to the sideline to see if it is not a first down, whether they'll go for it on 4th. It would be 4th and inches, or to take the 5-yard penalty and make it 3rd down and 5.
A look at the impressive statistical line of Dan Marino, throwing the record-breaking 48 touchdowns, set a host of NFL and Miami Dolphin club records. Well, it is just shy of the first down. That's where they spotted the ball.
He's going, what do you want, Coach? So you do know they're going for it on 4th down. Big play early in the ball game on the first drive, just inside the 40.
And the short yardage specialist, the big guy, Pete Johnson, has checked in. It is 4th and about 3 inches. Miami Dolphins, record of 14-2, winning the AFC East. The only losses to the Chargers and the Raiders. Seattle Seahawks 12-4 on the season, finishing second behind Denver in the AFC West. Overall 13-4 off the victory last week over the Raiders in the AFC wild card playoff. Fourth and inches. Johnson and Bennett on the running back. And it's Pete Johnson. First down and more.
This tells you a little bit about what Don Shula thinks of his offensive line. Rather than take a 3rd and 5, he goes with a 4th and half a yard. They easily pick it up, moving people off the line of scrimmage over John Giesler. Now, Pete Johnson has only had a 3-yard rushing average, but remember, he's only played in short yardage situations, so that's a pretty good one under those conditions.
And he has scored 9 touchdowns since coming over to Miami. Picked up the first down inside the 30. That, in fact, his longest run of the season just a moment ago. Marino, incomplete. Looking for Mark Clayton. Covered by the right corner, Dave Brown.
Talking to Tom Catlin before the game, he said the most impressive thing about Marino is the way he buys time. Now take a look at Mark Clayton running this pattern. You'll notice when he does make his move, he is open. Marino's running, looking for help. But he's got nothing but time. Dan tries to get the ball low, so the only man with an opportunity to catch it is Clayton. Goes right through his hands.
4 minutes have gone by. First quarter, Mark Clayton, 18 touchdown passes, setting an NFL record for most TDs by a receiver. This is the 8th play of the drive upcoming. We have no score, just underway at the Orange Bowl. Here's Woody Bennett. For the 25, Fred Young, the outside linebacker, a rookie from New Mexico State, on the stop.
Somebody would say, why are they running a trap play, which is contrary to their personality, 2nd and 10? Well, the reason is that they're using 7 defensive backs, the Seahawks are, on certain occasions. That time they had 6, and the linebacking position is weaker. If you can get any of your linemen on a linebacker, split the seam, you're on for a big game.
And it sets a 3rd down and 6 outside the 25. 4 wideouts with Cephalo and Moore on the field now for the Dolphins. Reno throwing sideline. Dave Brown on the coverage to break it up. Intended from Mark Duper, but Brown was right there.
They are not playing any zone early in the ball game. They played man-to-man and as tight as they can on both Duper and Clayton. And now comes Ubed.
Well, a man who has had all kinds of problems. It has been a very poor season for Uwe von Schaman. He kicked the fewest field goals in the NFL this year. 9 for 19 overall. This a 43-yard attempt.
And it might be something to note, he has not kicked one over 40 yards this year.
And his first attempt in some 5 games. It is no good. And the Uwe von Schaman trouble continues.
But you can just tell his confidence level is at an all-time low. After he kicks this ball, take a look at his reaction. He knows he didn't hit it solid, just sticks his head down. Ho hum, another day at the plant. How much of this do I have to go through?
Marv Albert with John Brody from the Orange Bowl in Miami. 5 minutes have gone by in this first quarter. Over von Schaman just missed from 43 yards away. Seahawks to the offense for the first time from their 26-yard line. And Craig on the handoff. David Hughes, who ran for a season high of 54, who threw for 32 touchdown passes, facing a 2nd and 7. In fact, only Marino threw for more. And keeping it on the ground. Here is Jennings. And the crowd responding to the Miami defensive effort.
They have been picked on some. If there is a group that's been maligned in Miami, and you could tell before the ball game they're up for it.
3rd down and 6. Craig to put it up for the first time. Can't find anyone. Doug Betters, who led Miami during the season with 14 sacks, getting to Craig to stop this opening series of the Seahawks.
Well, Doug Betters has been their best pass rusher, of course, but this has to be given to the secondary because Doug Betters was actually knocked down. Dave Craig had to come out and around. He is finally making the sack after 6 full seconds, where one of those wide receivers, either Largent or Turner, has to be expected to be open by that time, and they weren't.
Miami defensive unit had a team meeting before that Monday night game against Dallas. They feel now they're playing with fire and with emotion, and they feel that they are back to where they were earlier this year after a couple of real rough games. Here's Jeff West with a good one. And this is Fulton Walker out to the 30. And good coverage by the Seahawks, who excel on the special teams. A 58-yard punt by West. Walker returns it for 11. He was stopped by John Kaiser. 8:10 left, first quarter, and we are scoreless.
Sunday, on an all-new Knight Rider, a deadly double is out to destroy Michael.
We're going for it.
Can he survive a high-flying battle? Sunday.
The Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida. The pilot is Captain Mike Fitzpatrick out of Newport, Rhode Island. The Enterprise equipped with a prototype camera mount called Winged Vision, as we look at the Orange Bowl from above on a beautiful day here in Miami, Florida. Miami and Seattle, no score. The AFC semifinal playoff game, 8:10 remaining in this first quarter. The Dolphins first down from their 32. Here's Tony Nathan taking advantage of a large hole.
Real good offensive line play, Marv. They move people right off the line of scrimmage. This is just a tight end set with the other 2 wide receivers to the other side. Now, with the tight end, they just try to get any sort of movement. Bruce Hardy, number 84, gets a pretty good stand-up block, but Nathan runs well.
And Tony picked up the first down, 11-yard pickup. He has 20 yards, 3 carries, first down at the 43 as they shift out of the eye. Bennett and Nathan are the running backs. Again, Nathan. And he found the opening on the left side. Keith Butler, very active here in the first quarter. On the stop, Schultz, Robinson, Butler, and Gaines are the linebackers. There's Butler, Seattle's second leading tackler, right behind Shelton Robinson, the other inside man. It'll be a 2nd down and 6 for the Dolphins, who now go double tight end with Harty and Rose. And Nathan is the lone deep back. Marino going sideline. Beautiful leaping catch by Mark Clayton for the first down and much more.
Now, this is a ball that should be picked off. Only when you have the sort of confidence that Dan has in both marks do you throw the ball into this situation. Keith Simpson has him underneath the whole way. He's playing the ball, looks like a certain interception. Clayton jumps at just the right time, gets the ball at its highest point, and Kenny Easley's playing behind him. Now, this is the sort of ball you just don't expect to even be thrown, let alone be completed, yet they do it like pitch and catch.
A 20-yard pass play, first down at the Seattle 27. 6:20 left, first quarter. We are scoreless. Marino with the time. This is Nathan. He is short of the first down by a couple. Butler on the stop of Tony Nathan, the all-purpose back who has picked up more than 1,000 yards as a combination runner and receiver.
You notice they started both drives running the football, and they've done that to keep the Seahawks from inserting their 6 and 7 backs on first down. And if they can get the Seahawks to respect their runs, you won't see so much of that.
And it's a second down and about 3 down at the 20. The acceleration by Tony Nathan. And Jacob Green, the left defensive end, was right there. It's Green, Nash, and Bryant up front. There's Jacob Green in his 5th year out of Texas A&M, one of several big play men on the Seahawks in what has been a big play ball club. Timeout has been called with 5:29 left in this first quarter. An official time they will measure.
Isn't it funny, Marv, how you see so many big play men on the same team? It's because this game is one that complements the play of each other so much that you'll never see a big play man in the secondary if you don't have a good pass rush, and vice versa.
And that pass rush of Green, Nash, and Bryant done the job. Green with 13 sacks, Nash with 7, Bryant 14.5. It's a 3rd and 1. Chuck Knox, in his 2nd year as head coach of the Seahawks, 54-year-old Don Shula. He'll celebrate his 55th birthday next week. Very little for Shula to conquer. He's had back-to-back Super Bowl champions, had that perfect 17-0 Dolphin team. Long count by Marino. And the first down picked up again by Pete Johnson. So Johnson, who reported to the Dolphins at 270 pounds, and then Shula pointed out that he played his best around 250.
And he's going to get a good block from number 57, Dwight Stevenson. They're in a short yardage defense. He gets on Dino Mangiero. All you have to do is get a stand-up. Don't let that defensive tackle get any real penetration, and your fullback has little problems, as Pete did.
And a first down inside the 15-yard line. Bennett and Nathan in the backfield. Play action. Marino throwing end zone. Overthrowing Mark Clayton. Pete Simpson, the left corner, on the coverage.
2nd and 10.
John Marino says a key to stopping Seattle's defense is to look all-pro strong safety Ken Easley right in the eye, because he keys the coverage. You buy that? You look at the guy in the eye?
He might say that before the snap of the ball, trying to get some sort of pre-read, but when that ball snapped, he's got his attention on his wide receivers, and you could see by those statistics just how excellent they are. I did that once, looked at Butkus, and he gave me one of those goofy looks, had a little saliva coming down his cheek. My guard got mad at me.
2nd down and 10. And again to the ground, Nathan. Tony Nathan is it. A 14-yard run for the touchdown by the 6-year man out of Alabama, Tony Nathan. The Dolphins lead the Seahawks 6-0.
And you could see over on the sideline, Tom Catlin and Chuck Knox a bit concerned. Hey, what's happening? Is all Chuck would ask. And Tom says, hey, we've got our 6-backs in there. We didn't expect them to run the play. If they get good offensive line blocking and a little bit of help from Mark Duper, it's going to be a good play. Right place at the right time.
Uwe von Schaman, who missed the field goal earlier this first quarter, this time puts it right through. And the Dolphins in front of Seattle by the score of 7-0.
Okay, you get outside on a play like this, and there are no linebackers in there. You see Keith Simpson trying to get his containment. Usually when you're concerned about receivers downfield, you just don't contain as well. Kenny Easley did not make contact until Nathan was 12 yards down the field. That means you're concerned about the pass. You see here, he's not in a position to make the move he generally would like to. Good play calling. Well, this is the block. This is how your wide receivers complement your running backs. Mark Clayton, who really made the key catch in the drive by beating double coverage on a ball that I think I've been benched for throwing balls like that. Marino makes touchdowns.
And it's a 7-0 Dolphin lead as Tony Nathan ran it in from 14 yards away. And to this point, it's been Nathan left and Nathan right. 4 minutes, 9 seconds left first quarter. The kickoff by Van Schomen. This is Cullen Bryant. Out to the 10. Out across the 20-yard line. Cullen Bryant, the 12-year man from Colorado, stopped by the special teams wild man, Mike Kozlowski. A timeout is called. We'll be back in just a moment.
The NFL plays here.
Pittsburgh battles Denver in the AFC Divisional Playoffs.
Our championship spot is on the line. Your team plays here on NBC.
At this point, the Dolphins have dominated the Seahawks. They have maintained possession for nearly 9 minutes. Of this first quarter, Dave Craig, who has run only 3 plays from scrimmage, now looking at a first down from the Seattle 22-yard line. Intended for David Hughes. And the ball was blown dead. That's the rookie from Miami, Jay Brophy, all over Hughes. Incidentally, later on, we'll be selecting the Michelob Light Most Valuable Player for today's game. That'll be later on in the telecast. We have 3:48 left. First quarter, Dolphins 7, and the Seahawks nothing. 2nd and 10 from the 22. Tony Nathan, who has had the ball on 9 of Miami's 17 offensive plays. In the eye, Dornick and Hughes are the running back. Here's Dornick. Good second effort by Dan Dornick, run out by Mark Brown. You know, Dornick was asked about his running style coming off the terrific game against the Raiders last week. And Dornick said, well, I'm slow, but I make up for it by having no moves.
Yeah, there have been a few that have used that before him, but I think it's correct. He's an excellent player. You know, some people don't know he was playing ahead of Larry Zonka in New York 7 years ago. So it's not like he's a Johnny-come-lately. He's been a very steady, workman-like fullback, and they've got about 3 or 4 of those. And since Kurt Warner went down, that's it.
He picked up 8. It's a 3rd down and 2 at the Seattle 30. For Steve Largent, and he took a pop from Mike Kozlowski.
This is something you very seldom see. Number 80, Steve Largent, dropping a ball for a first down. We saw him catch 12 balls against Denver on similar type plays a month ago, beating the defense underneath. He's as good at it as anyone, but Kozlowski has a habit of coming up with big plays in key games.
And Largent did not catch a pass last week against the Raiders. Of course, Craig threw only 10.
Not many did.
Clyde West, who got off a 58-yard punt earlier this quarter with another good one. Here's Colton Walker at the 25. Reaching out to the 28, a 52-yard punt by Jeff West. The return for 11. And Miami will take over. Join us New Year's for a spectacular day of college football.
The best and the brightest of the bowls are on NBC. Your day begins with Miami and UCLA in the Fiesta Bowl. Then the Rose Bowl pits Ohio State against the USC Trojans. And Oklahoma battles Washington in a game that could determine the national championship, the Orange Bowl. On New Year's Day, America loves its sports, NBC style.
And the Dolphins take over first down at their 29-yard line. Dolphins lead 7-0. And Tony Nathan again getting the call. So Don Shula continues to mix it up here in the early going. 2nd and 10, though. It has been a spectacular season for this man and his Dolphins. Miami setting 5 NFL records, establishing or equaling 50 club records. But it will go for naught unless this team advances in the playoffs.
Here comes Kenny.
Second down throw by Marino. A penalty marker is down. The completion to Mark Duper is short of the first down, but a flag thrown. Dave Brown on the coverage from his right corner position, and the call against the Dolphins. Penalties against the Dolphins, a rarity for the 9th straight season. They are the least penalized team in the NFL.
Illegal motion, number 22, offense, still second down.
So Tony Nathan called on the illegal motion. Miami flagged for only 67 penalties, only about 4 per game.
Well, you expect it out of a Don Shula coach team, and I think that's an illustration of really superb coaching.
Second down and 15. And the Dolphins with the 4 wide receivers, Clayton and Duper, joined by Moore and Cephalo. Yes, number 79, Jacob Green, claiming that he was actually brought off by the Dolphins. But no, they say it's the other way.
Now we go back to square one, and it's second down and 10.
Defense.
So Green jumping. We have 2:39 left in this first quarter. And in the other direction, we mentioned the Dolphins the least penalized. Seattle right among the leaders. Second down play, and again it's Nathan. Tony Nathan, who averages about 5 yards per carry. That time stopped by Jacob Green, and the free safety, John Harris. There's Harris, number 44, kind of a homecoming for John out of Miami Jackson High School, which is 1 mile from the Orange Bowl. And did you know he was valedictorian of his graduating class? So you and he have something in common.
But I do know John, and he's a bright guy, and I think he's become as good as he is because of how smart he is in the last 3 or 4 years.
It's a 3rd down and 5. Marino 5 for 8 thus far. And Walker's long. It is picked off by John Harris. Harris to midfield. Getting superb blocking. So Dan Marino rarely picked off, intercepted. Harris with a 32-yard return, and the Seahawks with their first big play of the game.
You're going to see a man playing center field that wasn't really, or shouldn't have been to the play in time, but because of his alertness made an exceptional grab of a ball intended for Joe Rose. The ball was a little bit underthrown. Joe Rose has not caught a ball in the last several weeks, and anybody who's watched a lot of Miami in big ball games knows that number 80's come down with several big catches, but he's on one-on-one coverage. Keith Simpson, watching him all the way, makes a fine bat of the ball, allows John Harris to pick it off, and it's 1st and 10. Seattle on the 39-yard line of Miami.
The Seahawks led the NFL in interceptions. Harris had 6 during the course of the season. A guy with excellent anticipation. That is his game, and we just saw it right there. The Seahawks first down at the Miami 39. Hughes and Gordon are the running backs. And third ball down for the 2nd time, and Bob Brzezinski coming up with the Dolphins' 2nd sack of the day.
You know, it's around the Dolphin camp, they view that this man, of all the players on their defense, and they've had several All-Pros, and you know, Baumhauer and Betters and Bo Camper, you name them. This fella's had the best year 2 years consecutively, although he has only grabbed 2 interceptions, so his recognition level is not as high. but those who play the game don't pick on him very often.
How's this for diplomacy? Brzezinski was asked what his favorite television program is. He said it's the weekly Don Shula show. Second down and 20. Now Craig getting the time. He threw a floater to the tight end, Charlie Young. Stopped inside the 45 by Jay Brophy. Jay Brophy back in the starting lineup. A.J. Dewey acknowledges he has been playing tentative and returning from the knee and shoulder injury, and didn't matter, he still made the Pro Bowl, which he also acknowledges was a mistake.
Well, and you know, that happens a lot. It's not a perfect science the way these fellas pick that. A fella gets a reputation, and oftentimes he's a repeat.
Third down, 15. The crowd urging the Dolphin defense. Craig throwing deep. He has Largent for the first down inside the 20. The Seahawks' first down of the game.
Excellent timing. We mentioned we've seen Steve Largent beat zone defenses time and again. Now, if you have a favorite receiver, it'd be number 80 if I'm playing quarterback, and with Craig it's the same. He comes down, this ball is thrown before Largent makes his break, but because he depends on him so much and his routes are so clean, he can do that, and number 80 will come down with it. Beautifully thrown ball over the linebackers underneath the secondary. First down.
Picked up 25 with final seconds, first quarter. And they won't get it off. The gun sounding. So that's the end of one here at the Orange Bowl in Miami off a 14-yard run by Tony Nathan. And ball control. The Dolphins lead the Seahawks 7-0. On the stat sheet, it's been all Seattle in the first quarter. I should say all Miami in the first quarter. Dolphins lead it by the score of 7-0. They had the ball for 10.5 minutes. It's been a combination of Dan Marino and the running back Tony Nathan. Nathan scoring from 14 yards away for the only touchdown, but now off the 25-yard completion from Craig to Largent as we open up the second quarter. The Seahawks first down at the Miami 19 as they line up in the I. And this is Dorning. He was able to make the turn, being forced wide.
You know, they've had a lot of changes at linebacker in the past year here in Miami, and I think it's an unsettling factor for your defense. But this man, who's a rookie out of the University of Miami, had a great Orange Bowl last year, has real good lateral movement, particularly for an inside linebacker, forces Dornick out of bounds clear across the field.
The problem area has been at the inside linebacker positions. Mark Brown on the right, Brophy and Dewey on the left. Brzezinski and Bowser have been fine. 2nd and 2 off the 8-yard pickup, and here's Hughes going the other way. Stopped short of the first down. Combination of the inside men, Brown and Brophy on the tackle.
Young players, but both excellent against the run. And we'll just get a good chance to see how laterally they pursue well. When this ball is snapped, you'll notice he's off and moving. That means a fella's reading his keys well, and he gets into the position inside out where when the running back cuts up, he's there to make the play.
Sets up a 3rd down and 1. Seahawks go with 3 tight ends, Young, Tice, and Metzelar. The ball at the Miami 10. Dornick looked to be stopped short. We are opening minute, second quarter. The indication that Dornick was stopped. And the field goal unit stepping on. What do you think?
Well, I think Chuck Knox is not going to be caught going that far down the field with a turnover and not get something to show for it. Now, this man is the best kicker in this game right at this time. Over 80%. That's a remarkable feat. They're going to take the 3.
Backup quarterback Jim Zorn will hold. This a 27-yard attempt, And the slight angle to the left. And Norm Johnson is right through. And from this distance, he is 10 for 11 on the season. A season of excellence for the 3-year pro out of UCLA, Norm Johnson, with a minute and a half gone by. Second quarter, the Dolphins now lead the Seahawks by the score of 7-3.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products, by IBM, and by a company called TRW, where tomorrow is taking shape.
It is a gorgeous day at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Marv Albert with John Brody. Number 50 is Fred Young, a third-round draft pick, a rookie from New Mexico State. The man to watch when you talk about Seattle Seahawks special teams. We'll keep an eye on him as he comes flying down the field. And Norm Johnson getting set to kick off. The lone deep man is Holt Walker. On the opening kickoff, Johnson kept it away from Walker. And again, a short kick, a floater. Walker comes up for it to the 25 and a hit at speed. And again, the kicker, Johnson, on the tackle.
You bet, and he was not in the position where he should have been making that play. Coming from the left side, he just followed the running back the whole way, and this is innate ability. Some fellas have it. They know what angles to take. As he comes down, braces himself, and now gets into pursuit, never leaving track of the ball carrier. A lot of fellas would have been caught too far to the left side. He makes a play that could have saved a lot more yards.
The standout special teams man, Fred Young.
And he's going to be a good linebacker.
First down at the 40 for Miami. They lead Seattle 7-3. We're early second quarter. And Marino to put it up first down. Has lots of time. And has Woody Bennett. Bennett to the Seattle 40. A 20-yard pass play. Robinson and Butler on the tackle. Woody Bennett in his 7th year out of Miami is 5th with the Dolphins after starting his career with the New York Jets.
Now, this is a case of your great offensive line play. Now, they've got two fellas that are not accustomed to being in that offensive line who just move in for those who are injured. You notice we haven't mentioned Kuchenberg. He's out for the year. Maybe he will retire, but their offensive line play is just outstanding.
And Bennett stepped in effectively for the injured Andre Franklin. First down at the Seahawk 40. Nathan did not have the move. Tried a little shake and bake, but had nowhere to go.
You don't have the move when you don't have the area to move in. There's a fellow that's come up. We've talked about the linebacking play for the Miami Dolphins. The Seahawks have been consistently outstanding with their play. Jackson went down early in the season. This man's come on very strong.
Bruce Schultz with Shelton Robinson, Keith Butler, great games. We've seen a little bit of Fred Young at linebacker. Second down and 12. Marino 6 for 10, 63 yards. And again to the ground. Again, Nathan. It's back to the line of scrimmage at the 40-yard line. And Michael Jackson on the hit. Michael Jackson has been a guy hit hard by injuries the last couple of years. He has made it back from a knee problem.
You know he's feeling good about that contact because he hasn't had a lot of it lately. He's one of those type players that could also be a dominating defensive player, and was.
The winner here today will face the winner of tomorrow's Denver-Pittsburgh game. And you will see right here on NBC. Third down and 9. Some jumping at the Seattle end. Marino might have a free play. Oh, what a catch. Kenny Easley on the interception, but now they say, let's see, is it ruled incomplete?
And they also caught Seattle, I think, jumping off sides. So
there is a gifted athlete.
Oh, boy, you talk about, you know, it used to be where you didn't throw the ball into situations where it's that tight a coverage.
Offside. Defense, number 74, still third down.
74 is Mike Fanning. 10-year man out of Notre Dame. Here's a look at the tail end of that play.
This is called having great faith in your receiver. When they're covered that way, to throw the ball down there and hope he comes up with it against a man like Easley means you are large on confidence.
It's a 3rd down and 4 from the Seattle 34. Marino with the time has Cephalo. Touchdown.
Jimmy Cephalo just made one of the really great moves on Paul Moyer that time. Marino being alert enough to pick out a one-on-one coverage. Cephalo got Moyer's back turned going to the corner, cut underneath to the post, and he was all alone.
And Van Donen looking to add the extra point. With 4 minutes gone by, second quarter. Off the 34-yard touchdown pass from Marino to Jimmy Cephalo. The Dolphins extend the lead. They lead the Seahawks now by the count of 14-3.
Boy, and he puts this ball up here so softly just before Cephalo had made his move so that he gets the ball before Moyer could react and get back into the play. Beautiful touchdown pass.
John, is it a case of too much attention being focused on Duper and Clayton, allowing for Jimmy Cephalo to be wide open?
Well, they've got to play somebody one-on-one when they're playing man defenses. You've seen they've doubled both Duper and Clayton. That leaves a one-on-one situation for Moyer on Cephalo. It's a very tough assignment, and if Marino picks it up, you know you might be in trouble. He did, and they were.
4 plays, 60 yards, 2 minutes, 43 seconds consumed. 34-yard pass play, Marino to Cephalo, and a 14-3 Miami lead. This is David Hughes, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Seattle's kickoff return game hampered by that early season injury suffered by Paul Johns, the critical injuries. Kurt Warner and Johns, who went out with the nerve damage.
And that means they've got 2 fullbacks back there returning kickoffs. Now, obviously, they complement one another blocking for each other, but as a breakaway threat, they probably won't be that big.
They just want to hold on to the football and bring it out to a respectable distance. All right, first down at the 20-yard line. Craig is 2 for 4, 30 yards. Craig in trouble, able to line drive it to Dan Dornick across the 25. Good rush by Mike Charles, who just recently activated this week.
Now, this is the sort of play that's really a nice play by the quarterback. He's buying time. Dornick gets held up by Charles Bowser, who's coming over, and it looks as if, hey, he couldn't run his route. Bowser gets in the way. He has to stop it short, cut back the other way. Craig was able to find him and pick up 6 instead of being caught for 6.
And it's a second down and 4. 5 minutes gone by. Second quarter. Out of the eye with Hughes in front of Dornick. And it's Dornick shy of the first down. Jay Brophy, number 53. First man to get to Dan Dornick, who incidentally will be resuming his medical school classes at the University of Washington on January 21st. That's the day after the Super Bowl, he points out.
If you're gonna play the game, you better make all appointments after the big one. This is where the Seahawks stumbled on their last drive, not being able to pick up the first down with a 3rd down and 1.
And again, this Orange Bowl crowd comes to life. It's Hughes. Robert Sowell, the extra defensive back, stopping David Hughes, and now the Dolphins defensive unit playing with the emotion and fire that Chuck Studley has been looking for.
Well, Robert Sowell is a fellow that only went to school for 1 year at Howard University, carried a football around with him for a whole year, was taken as a free agent, the Dolphins being the only group that would give him a shot. He's paid off handsomely for them, and right now the Dolphin defense is beating the Seahawks at the line of scrimmage.
Jeff West, who had been magnificent in the first quarter, is now kicking against the wind. He's averaged 55 yards per punt, high snap, and just did get it away. This is Fulton Walker calling fair catch. 33-yard punt this time by West. And Miami will take over. 8:23 left. First half. It's the Dolphins 14 and the Seahawks 3.
A lot of Seattle people down here in Miami this week for both games.
Following the Seahawks and the Huskies. First down now. Dolphins from their 43. And Marino throwing. First down. And picked off again. And once again, it's John Harris, his second intercept of the day. So Marino intercepted for the second time this afternoon. And a Seahawk player is down, Dave Brown, the right cornerback.
Well, we mentioned if Dan does have one weakness, it's that he's so confident he will throw the ball into coverage that he really shouldn't. Again, John Harris makes a fine play just being in the right spot. Mark Duper never had a play on the ball. Miami's got their second interception, and the Seahawks have the ball in good
Right
field
cornerback
position.
Dave Brown being looked after over at the Seattle Seahawk bench, helped off the field, and a key man with 8 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns this season. Greg Gaines went down earlier with a shoulder, and he will get the x-ray treatment. No further word on the linebacker Gaines. Dan Marino, in a most unusual situation, has thrown one touchdown, but has been intercepted twice.
Well, he's thrown the ball well. We did mention that he does have a tendency to force it. He did and got caught.
Seattle first down at the Dolphins 45. They're trailing 14-3. And Craig incomplete and nearly picked off. Darrell Turner, the intended receiver.
And that was just a miscommunication. You see the look on Craig's face. He can't believe it, because often a receiver will turn. He thinks the spot is right there, and he doesn't continue with his pattern. That time, Turner thought that Craig was going to hit him just on the break, and had he come across the field, which Craig intended, it would have been a certain big gain. Instead, it's an incompletion, 2nd and 10.
It's been a tremendous year for Dave Craig, breaking Seahawk records, most passing yards, most touchdown passes, along with being one of 7 Seahawks to be named to the Pro Bowl squad. He now faces a 2nd and 10. Going sideline and drop. David Hughes upset with himself. And there's Dave Brown. Brown, the 10-year man out of Michigan, an original Seahawk. He and Steve Largent, the only original still in the Seattle starting lineup 9 years later.
How did they do in that expansion draft, getting a Dave Brown from Pittsburgh, who was originally their #1 choice, and a Steve Largent? I mean, you're doing okay. Jim Zorn.
Steve Largent from Houston. Jim Zorn started out with the Dallas Cowboys. 3rd down and 10. Craig 3 for 7. Only 36 yards. Lost one sideline. Intended for Paul Stanzi. And again, the punting unit will come on.
This is just real good coverage by William Judson. One-on-one with Stanzi. The receiver doesn't beat the cornerback. The ball goes back to the line of scrimmage. Good play, Miami.
And again, it's West punting against the wind from his 40-yard line. And that's Fulton Walker. Walker back at the 10. Good hang time. And the fair catch again at the 11-yard line. A 34-yard punt by West, who does the job. Miami will start out from the 11 with 7:44 left in this first half. Miami defense doing the job, and the Dolphins now start out at their 11-yard line. 7:44 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert with John Brody from the Orange Bowl in Miami. And the Dolphins lead the Seahawks by the score of 14-3. Nathan running one in from 14, and Marino hitting Cephalo. Tony Nathan stopped by Keith Butler and Michael Jackson. So Jackson has taken over for the injured Greg Gaines on the outside on the right, and that tells the story. The Dolphins dominated the Seahawks. Give you an idea just how awesome the Dolphins are. Out of the 28 NFL teams, Miami finished first in 18 of the 41 offensive categories that the league keeps track of.
And number one being score.
Yeah. To the tune of a record of 14-2, second down and 10. Quick release by Marino. Mark Duper for the first down.
You notice it didn't it didn't take Marino very long to throw the ball out to Mark Duper on Terry Jackson, who's playing a foreign position to him, Dave Brown being injured. But let's take a look at how much time Dan gets because of number 57, number 64, Ed Newman, number 61, Roy Foster. These fellas give him some protection. It gets quite active in there, and he's like he's sitting on a stool. Oh.
And a 15-yard pass play. Marino now 8 for 13, 113 yards, first down at the 27. A short setup, and Marino going long. Pass intended to Mark Clayton, who was claiming that he was held back by Keith Simpson.
Well, he was sure covered closely. Mark's a talkative young man, and I can remember in the pregame show how he and Marino got into it on the sideline. Dan is a take charge guy, and in his second year, he still runs the whole show, and the players respect that. Mark wants to run the secondary.
And Jacob Green was complaining about the fact that he was held, so both clubs getting their words in. I'm told that Dave Brown has now been taken for x-rays. Second and 10 at the 27. And it's Woody Bennett picking up 3 on the play. It'll be a third down and 7. Shelton Robinson, the inside linebacker, making the stop. And the Dolphins continue to mix up the play selection very effectively with Nathan Bennett, Pete Johnson running for a couple of first downs, Marino throwing the 1 touchdown to Jimmy Cephalo.
Well, that's why it's so hard to blitz, Dan. I mean, they've got a 7-back situation right now, and they're scared to death to come in there and blitz him because that means they'll have to have one-on-one to the inside receivers, and they don't want to give him that again.
And Marino and the Dolphins to this point have converted 3 of 5 in third down situations. Now Marino wants to talk it over, so the timeout with 5:28 remaining in this first half. We'll be right back. If the Dolphins win here today, they would host the winner of tomorrow's Denver-Pittsburgh game next Sunday for the AFC Championship. If Seattle wins, they'll play at either Denver or Pittsburgh next Sunday. Denver and Pittsburgh get the home field because they are the division champs, even though the Steelers finished at 9-7. Denver and Pittsburgh tomorrow here on NBC. Bob Costas and the gang, NFL 84, getting it underway 3:30 Eastern Time. Third down and 6 from the 31. Big rush, and Marino was able to get it away, although he took a hit. Pass intended for Nat Moore.
Well, Dan waited as long as he could. He had no receiver open. The secondary coverage was such that you could see no one in the hole deep. Nat Moore coming underneath. He is the 4th receiver. Short little delay pattern. Good secondary coverage.
And for the first time today, a look at Reggie Roby as the Dolphins are forced to punt. His punts don't have hang time, they have overtime. Has an unusual style, drops the ball chin high so the leg is fully extended when he makes contact, and he really can pop it.
Up as well as out.
And easily awaiting the punt. Back at the Seattle 18-yard line. Oh, the high punt. And Roby able to get it away. This is Easley. Ran into his own man at the 30. Kozlowski on the stop, and Roby hearing it from the crowd. A nifty move to unleash a 44-yard punt.
Well, it reminds you of the sort of athletic ability you've seen out of Ray Guy over the years. It's so important for that punter to be a good athlete. Not only does he step under the outside man, but he's able to have the guts to step right into that punt rush and get that ball off. He did a pretty good job to get the ball before it hit the ground. Now that's being in present time, getting under the punt rush and getting it off.
Seahawks first down from their 31. They're trailing the Dolphins 14-3 with 5 minutes left in this first half. Craig swings it out for Dorning. He's out to the 32-yard line. A short pickup. Don McNeil on the stop. Reggie Roby in a second year out of Iowa. Big guy, too.
You can tell those good linebackers, too. That was Brodzinski getting in to help McNeil just because he had a real good drop and was in great position. You'll see those running backs pick up 7 or 8 yards just because they get the linebacker out of position. It's hard to get Brod.
What does Reggie do? 6'2", listed at 243. Second down and 8. Here's Hughes. Up. Kim Bocamper leading the charge, and the Seahawks just cannot get unraveled on the ground.
Well, those meetings those fellas had, and you'll remember, this is the same team that ran the Raiders out of the ballpark last week because of their offensive line's perfection. And whatever they did in that meeting a couple weeks ago, it must have paid off because these fellas are winning at the line of scrimmage, and that's what allows those linebackers and secondary people to do their jobs.
That was a closed-door meeting held by the Miami defensive corps. They said no coaches allowed, and it did turn things around somewhat against the Dallas Cowboys in that final regular season game for Miami. Third down and 6. And Craig completes for the first down of Darrell Turner. A 10-yard advance, and the Seahawks pick up the first down. 3.5 remaining in this first half. There's Darrell Turner. They call him Deep Heat, a second-round draft pick out of Michigan State, emerging as a starter in his rookie season, what with an injury suffered by Paul Johns.
Well, we know he can go deep, but he showed a lot of ability there to get underneath Paul Langford, who was covering him closely, and Craig had enough time to hit him.
First down at the 44 of Seattle. And now Steve Largent pulling away. Touchdown Seahawks as Largent pulled away from Glenn Blackwood. A 56-yard pass play to get the Seahawks back in it.
That was about as well a thrown ball as you'll find. That was a zone defense, and when Largent made his break, that ball was in the air. It hit him in dead stride, and I think Largent is just as good after he gets it as he is prior. They needed a big play to get him back in this ball game, playing away from home, 11 points down. Ball control, you can file that. They needed a big play, and they got one.
Nice move by Largent. Instead of going straight ahead, the swivel, and Blackwood could not chase him down. Now Norm Johnson will attempt the point after. Largent, his second catch of the day. Zorn puts it down. And the Dolphin lead is now cut to 14-10 with 3:23 left in this first half.
Number 80, Steve Largent. Little 56-yard reception. But take a look. Now, this ball is thrown right there. When he makes his break, he doesn't allow the secondary to recover on the ball. It's thrown in between the deep middle and the outside middle. Once he catches it, he bounces off both, and they've got 6. We've got another shot. This one's coming right at you. You see Craig has a little lane to throw the ball in, and he makes the most of it.
Steve Largent, who has been climbing into the upper echelons of the NFL record book in several categories, as we take a look from yet another angle.
You ought to give him more than 6 points for that many shots, Evan.
Steve Largent, a trade that Bum Phillips has said on many an occasion he would like to have back. When Bum was head man of the Houston Oilers.
John Hadle was a quarterback then, and he pleaded to get Steve into a few ball games, but to no avail.
You know, he's labeled as slow by some, but teammate Dave Brown, for one, says Largent isn't a speed burner, but he plays very fast because he uses the speed wisely, and a very tough guy.
Yes, he's got it all.
Walker, short receivers is the 20, 31 Eddie Hill. Number 40, Mike Kozlowski.
Norm Johnson getting set to kick off. Fulton Walker is the deep man. And again looks to keep it away from Walker. Walker comes up for him. And good coverage by the Seahawks at about the 23. Short return, a 5-yard return by Walker on the bouncer. Shelton Robinson on the tackle. 3:15 left, first half. And the Dolphins back to the offense. They lead it by the score of 14-10. Dan Marino, for the second straight year, the most efficient passer in the AFC. And with apologies to our NBC colleague Bob Greasy, Marino wiped Bob out of the Miami record books very effectively.
I think Bob said it. He said, I don't mind him beating it, but at mid-season, that's a little much.
First down at the 24, and Marino able to unleash. Mark Duper stopped by Keith Simpson.
And I'm sure many people note that Don Strock, who is standing on the sideline, has a jacket, a Dolphin blue jacket, and he wears that not because he's cold, as it's obviously 82 degrees. He's not goofy. It's just that he needs to give himself some mark for Marino to see, because he sends in a lot of the plays from the sideline, and it does get a little confused out there.
And Shula does look for input from Strock. Shula usually calls first and second down, and then Marino calls the third down play. Right now, second down and 7. Going sideline and able to hit Clayton.
Terry Jackson. Even 7. First down, Miami.
And the first down is picked up.
Let's take a look at the ability that the top receivers have. Now, obviously, you can't hit him after 5 yards, but he knows he's coming to the outside the whole time. He lets Jackson think he's got him covered to the inside, breaks at just the right time. It's just a little bitty pitch and catch.
Picked up 12 on the play. Terry Jackson filling in for the injured Dave Brown. Jackson at the right corner. He played 6 years with the Giants, acquired by the Seahawks during the offseason. And let's see if Marino looks to go that way. He does go to his left again. Mark Duper, and hammered. Loose ball, but it was blown dead as the Dolphins pick up the first down.
Marv, you don't even have to look at the numbers when you see a receiver get hit the way he got hit. It was number 45, Kenny Easley. Take a look here. This play looks like it's going for a big gain, as Duper has somebody in front of him. John Giesler, number 79, gets out there, but look at number 45. You think, is he explosive or what?
He is Seattle's hitman, a combination of intimidation and speed. Ken Easley, a strong safety. And the Seahawks did jar it loose, but the play whistle dead.
Right, and it is a first down, but Mark Duper is not the same man as he gets up after that play, and he's still on the ground.
Third reception, 30 yards on the day. for Mark Duper. That's the all-purpose man, Jim Jensen, who can play 22 positions now.
Well, you know, you just don't find the combination where a guy's as good on special teams as he is and also can play quarterback. We're looking at Mark, who is still down.
All right, here's another look at that hard hit.
Well, the play looks to be so good. He cuts to the inside. Now he's trying to get back outside, but he's got no chance as easily gets to him. And you can tell he actually did fumble that ball before the ball hit the ground, but it looked like it popped right back into his arms.
I don't know. It may have been a quick whistle. Here's another look.
Well, I'm not sure the whistle was blown. I think that ball pops right back into his arms. Look, it's obviously out of his grasp at this time. But when it falls, watch it. It'll come right back in. See that? He's got his arm on it.
Awfully close. And Duper hears it from the crowd. Mark just asked several questions, such as, what is your name?
Like, who was that guy?
It is a first down for Miami.
First and 10.
At their 48-yard line, 2.5 remaining, first half. Matt Moore has replaced Mark Duper. Marv Albert, John Brody from the Orange Bowl in Miami, where the Dolphins lead the Seahawks 14-10. Tony Nathan to midfield and gang tackle. And again, it's easily leading the charge.
2 yards.
Short pickup as you see we approach the 2-minute warning. Marino with time, lofting one. Not what he had in mind.
Well, when he went to throw the ball, he expected Woody Bennett to be out there. When he turned and looked, he knew he wasn't. He was fortunate to find a space of grass.
And now, with just under 2 minutes remaining in this first half, the official timeout. The Dolphins over the Seahawks 5-4.
The biggest game of all is coming, the Super Bowl. And when Super Bowl 19 is history, it will still live on in this official NFL Super Bowl 19 program. A collector's item, 182 pages with scouting reports, a review of the season, action photos, and more. You can get a copy at the stadium on Super Sunday, or just mail the $5 price to Super Bowl 19, Post Office Box 19, Trenton, New Jersey 08651. Order yours today.
The report on Mark Duper is that he suffered a cut inside his mouth that will require stitches, but he will hang in. He will be back. Mark trying to shake it off. Just under 2 minutes left, first half. The Dolphins have a 3rd down and 8 at midfield. They lead Seattle 14-10. in this AFC semifinal playoff meeting. And Marino throwing for Cephalo, and it is nearly picked off on the deflection. Easily had a shot at it. Terry Taylor, the rookie from Southern Illinois, got a piece of it.
And there's another ball Dan would like to have had back just after he throws. As we see, Kenny Easley looks like he's in trouble. That is not a good man to have injured. They've lost two of their key people. Now take a look here. Dwight Stevenson comes over to help on Jacob Green. Those linemen know who the top pass rushers are. They've doubled Jacob a lot, and that's why we haven't seen him near Dan.
As it is, Easley has been playing with a finger in a cast most of the season. Second punt of the day for Reggie Roby, who had himself an adventure just moments ago, but did unleash the 44-yard punt. Roby back at his 35, and this time puts one high. Easily inside the 15-yard line. When Johns went down with that neck injury early in the season, Easley volunteered for the punt return job. Most unusual for a starter, an all-pro, to volunteer for a kamikaze-type position, and he's done well. Watch the style of Roby.
And the height. That ball goes straight up, it appears, before it takes off out. Don't think those things are easy to catch when they're coming down all wiggly-woggly, and that wind starts, he creates a lot of fumbles that way.
Now, that's a 34-yard punt.
But a good one.
But a super punt because it has Seattle pinned back at a 16-yard line. And again, the crowd here at the Orange Bowl into it. Here's David Hughes. Can't get outside. Pushed back by the inside linebackers Mark Brown and Jay Brophy.
We see that clock going down to inside 125, and that's what a good punt does. It keeps the team's offense from really attacking, because a couple incompletions and having to punt again would still leave Miami near midfield with over a minute to play. So now they're going to try and take as much time as they can off the clock with a couple runs, and then if they get somewhere, they can go up.
2nd down and 8. And here's Dornick. And he's bumped out across the 25-yard line. Strong safety, Glenn Blackwood, pushing Dornick out of bounds. Short of the 1st down, and 51 seconds remaining. Seattle 3 timeouts left. Miami with 2. And it's a 3rd down and 1. NFL 84 coming up at halftime, hosted by Bob Costas. And we'll also have a live interview with NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle, who is taking it all in here at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Here's Dornick. Good power move for the 1st down.
And they'll call timeout.
1st down, Seattle, tackled by Bob Humble.
See, Marv, case in point. Now they've got it to under 45 seconds, but they've still got their timeouts left. They've got the ball in good field position, and they can run right into the half and possibly get some points. But they didn't want to give Miami a chance to get on the board after being unsuccessful.
No timeout being called right here. Time running down.
Well, it's funny because Craig was signaling for a timeout as soon as the ball was ruled 1st down. I guess Chuck Knox ruled him off, but that surprises me.
And he is content to go into the locker room down by 4, although Miami dominated this 1st half as David Hughes just closes it out. So the conservative philosophy of head coach Chuck Knox.
Usually he's a very easy man to read as to why he's doing what he is, but I do not have a clue as to why he didn't call timeout in that situation with good field position.
NFL 84 is just ahead. We're halftime at the Orange Bowl in Miami, and the Dolphins lead the Seahawks 14.
Sort of hang on, and that's what they did the 1st half, but we'll see what happens.
Commissioner, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, Marv.
All right, NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. As we get set for the 2nd half, the Miami Dolphins leading the Seattle Seahawks by the score of 14-10. And Uwe von Schamann getting set to kick off to the combination of Cullen Bryant and David Hughes. All Miami in the 1st half statistically. Yet the Seahawks able to battle their way back off the combination of Craig and Largent. And one of the up men, Mike Tice, the 6'7" tight end, on the return out to the 35-yard line. And we take a look at the 1st half statistics. Time of possession. In fact, the Seahawks did close in the 2nd quarter.
Well, after early in the ball game, getting off to a 14-3 deficit, the Seahawks played very well in the 2nd quarter, Marv, and they started to move the ball a little bit better on the ground. They're still not dominating by any stretch of the imagination. They've thrown the ball for about 85 yards, so offensively, this game has not been taken by either team.
1st down at the 35-yard line, and Dave Craig to throw, and able to complete to Darrell Turner for a 1st down at the Miami 46-yard line.
And if you remember, late in the 2nd quarter, Craig and Turner had a little trouble communicating. This time, Turner, when he makes his break, comes underneath. It's a double-covered situation. He comes underneath stays on the run, picks up the first.
And he picked up 19 yards in the process. Darrell Turner, the rookie from Michigan State, collecting the first down at the Dolphin 46-yard line. We are just underway, third quarter. Now Hughes on the reception.
Pass 246, David Hughes.
David Hughes stiff-arming his way to the 38. Glenn Blackwood, the strong safety, on the stop.
And when you have a strong safety out there picking up the flat area, you know it's an inverted type of a zone in which the strong safety comes up and plays the short outside, but he did not get there in time, primarily because Steve Largent was down the field.
Second down and 2. Seattle Seahawks at the Miami Dolphin 38-yard line. And here's Dorning, close to the first down marker.
Tackled by 53, Jay Brophy.
Short yardage has been very tough for the Seahawks today, as they were very good at it last week. They've been that ineffective this week, and I think a lot of that has to do with the linebacker play. Take a look at Jay Brophy. He gets into the hole before the back has a chance to. Now Hughes is a good blocker, but he got nowhere trying to handle Brophy that time.
As they untangle the yardstick, it is just short of the first down. It'll be third down and inches. Steve Largent in a conversation with head coach Chuck Knotts. And the third down play coming up now for the Seahawks. Dorning and Hughes are the running back. It's Dorning's second back coming through, and he has it.
And Dorning carries.
It's a first down at the Miami 34. The sidearm pick to Dorning. And a very short pickup. Doug Betters was right there along with Jay Brophy.
Well, that pattern got fouled up as Charlie Young was standing right next to Dornick when he caught the ball, and there are no patterns where two receivers are standing on the same space. Craig does that pretty well, though. When he gets in trouble, he goes the right way. He makes the decision to get out of trouble into an area where he has a receiver coming open, and he does that a lot.
And he has done a job. Dave Craig took over as the starter for the Seahawks the 9th week of last season. Since then, Seattle has a record of 20-8, including the playoffs. Second down and 9. That's Largent in motion. Comes back to Craig. Off the deflection. All right. So the completed pass to himself. New quarterbacks will do anything to help the completion percentage.
Well, generally, you're not in a position to catch the ball and gain any yardage, but he's got all his offensive linemen are picking up in the right spots. And you remember in the Super Bowl a couple years ago when Joe Theismann made a great bat of a ball that was popped up and it led to their victory. So just being alert helps.
Third down and 7. Looking for the first down. Steve Largent was pushed back. Let's see where they spot it. And it looks like it is a first down, and the crowd does not like it. They did not like the spot.
But I do think it was an accurate one. And you'll notice in starting the third quarter, they are not trying to gain any sort of ball possession or control running the thing. They're throwing it on first down. getting that 5 or 6 yards, getting a first down or what have you. Look at that pattern. When he makes his break, he gets himself far enough down the field so that when he comes back, he's still got the first.
Steve Largent in very fine company. First down at the 24. And it's Largent coming back to scoop it up. Incomplete. It is ruled no catch.
But he makes it look just like it was a catch all the way. When you come up, sometimes you get a call when the official's in a bad position. And the official is to the right sideline here. His Largent's back shelters the official from seeing the ball cleanly. He made a good call because he looked to the man coming down the line from the other side. That ball just barely tipped the ground. He had to defer to the other official. Watch this. See that?
Well, that's
he gets a lot of calls there, though.
That's the type of play that we were talking about at halftime with NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. Of course, that was more obvious when you take a second and third look. Craig throwing end zone and overthrows, intended for Byron Walker, number 89. Covered by Don McNeil.
I give these officials a lot of credit today throughout the first 2.5 quarters of the game. Now take a look here. They're not making these real close calls. Now heretofore, Gerald Small making that contact down the field would have been called. And that was, excuse me, that was Don McNeil. But that play would have been called interference in so many games that we've seen earlier in the season.
And it sets up a 3rd down and 10. This is the longest sustained drive for the Seahawks today. Their 10th play upcoming. 5 minutes in, 3rd quarter. Dolphins 14, Seahawks 10. Craig going sideline. Broken up. William Judson, the right cornerback, keeping it away from Paul Scanzi. And here's Norm Johnson. There's William Judson, 3-year man from South Carolina State, helping to stop this long Seattle drive.
And he's been in a one-on-one situation when they've blitzed. And you could see the game plan said, okay, Craig, we're going down to Scanzi whenever they blitz one-on-one with Judson. Judson's been the better player so far.
Johnson hit from 27 yards away in the 2nd quarter. His only attempt, this from 42 yards out. You can see the slight angle. It's to the right. Here's Jim Zorn awaiting the snap. For Norm Johnson, who is 21 for 26 on the season.
Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Craig, not a happy guy following that long drive by Seattle that produced Zippo 11 plays. They had the ball for almost 5 minutes, and then the long field goal by Johnson was off the mark.
I think more than anything, what really gets a quarterback is when it's a blitz. His offensive linemen backs pick up the blitz. He's got a one-on-one situation, and they come away with nothing. And that's happened 3 times today.
Craig 11 for 19, 143 yards to this point. Norm Johnson, who moments ago missed from 41. Earlier he hit from 27. And the Dolphins take over at their 24. Dan Marino checking it out. He has Nathan and Bennett in the backfield. And he goes sideline. Nice catch by Nat Moore. Keith Simpson
6 yards.
on the coverage. It sets up a 2nd down and 4. Nat Moore still a valuable possession-type receiver.
And boy, can he be used when you've got a gun like Marino back there. Dan takes a couple steps. He can throw the ball moving backwards as well as any quarterback I've ever seen. I thought Terry Bradshaw had it down, but this man, I think, is even better.
That combined with that quick release, that's Moore in motion, and it's Nathan. Actually, inadvertently hit down by his own man.
53, Keith Butler.
Keith Butler also involved. And a 3rd down play upcoming. 3rd and about 5. Nathan opened the scoring in the first quarter with a 14-yard run. 27-yard field goal by Norm Johnson cut the Miami lead to 7-3. Then it was Marino to Cefalo on a 34-yard pass play. The Dolphins at that point led 14-3, but Craig Telagent for 56 yards, cutting it to where we are at 14-10. Tony Nathan on the reception for the 1st down inside the 40. Don Dufek, backup defensive back, on the tackle.
That's right. Now he's a back. We've seen 7 defensive backs trying to contain Marino. This is a one-on-one pass play. He's got Nathan and Dufek right on the break. He gets rid of the ball. Dufek slips when Nathan makes his break. Easy 1st down.
And Marino is 13 for 22, 154 yards. Intercepted twice, and he's thrown for 1. Good coverage of Mark Clayton with some extracurricular activity. Terry Jackson jawing away with Clayton. Jackson replacing the injured Dave Brown at the right corner, so Brown still sitting it out.
Well, Terry Jackson's an excellent one-on-one cover man, and that's a real plus for a team to have 3. But to lose Dave Brown hurts them a lot, particularly when you're using as many defensive backs as they are in this ball game. And again, they had 6 in there on that play. They don't say anything.
8 minutes left. 3rd quarter, 2nd and 4. And here's Bennett for the 1st down. Woody Bennett, who scored a touchdown in last year's playoff game against the Seahawks, has stepped in very well for the injured Andre Franklin. He and Nathan have gone most of the way. Woody Bennett out of the University of Miami. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. 1st down play for Marino. Throws a bullet. Incomplete. The coverage by Jackson, so Marino continues to look Jackson's way.
Well, what he did is he tried to come late, but Jackson wasn't buying any. Watch this. He knows as soon as he makes that break, Dan came a little bit late. He's trying for a pickoff the whole way. And it's just a good play by Nat Moore, kept that ball from being picked off for a touchdown. They always say those receivers have to protect their quarterback, but I think Miami does that as well as anybody.
Terry Taylor has come on. Simpson and Taylor at the corners with Beasley and Harris, the deep men. 2nd and 10 at the Seattle 46. Again, that quick release and a 1st down for Bruce Hardy. The tight end, Bruce Hardy, who was shaken up, stopped by Kenny Easley, but he has the 1st down inside the 34.
This is something that would hurt the Dolphins severely if Bruce Hardy gets shaken up to where he can't play. We've already mentioned Dan Johnson did not start. He lost 18 pounds, and Bruce just had a problem trying to come off the field. That's very concerning there.
Brian Johnson out with the flu throughout the week. In fact, was hospitalized for several days. So the Dolphins could be down to 1 tight end, and Joe Rose. We'll be right back.
Bruce Hardy's on the sideline now. Shelton Robinson made the play originally. He got loose, and Kenny Easley again. That's two players he's been very rough on today. Earlier, Mark Duper barely got up. Bruce Hardy tried.
With your help, we can build a stadium which all South Floridians can be proud.
Duper is back in the lineup. He needed some stitches inside his mouth after he took a shot earlier. And now Moore is to the left and Clayton right. So Hardy to the sideline. Jeff Rose is the tight end. First down at the 33. And here's Nathan knifing his way across the 30, stopped by the inside linebacker, Shelton Robinson. Seahawks have Green, Nash, and Bryant up front. Schultz, Robinson, Butler, and Jackson, the linebackers. And there is Bruce Hardy, 7-year man out of Arizona State, who a moment ago caught his first of the day, a 13-yard pass play, but he paid for it dearly. Second down and 6. And now Jim Jensen is lining up as the second tight end, the man who can play all over the field. Jensen is now in a tight end. And this is Rose for the first down. And a flag thrown. A late hit by the Seahawks.
And rightly so. John Harris knew he had a tough man to handle in Joe Rose. He may have forgotten where the sideline was, but it's going to cost him. That's the first reception for Joe in quite a while. He's not been too healthy this year, and he mentioned Ahmad Rashad before the ball game. This is the best he has felt all year long. Well thrown ball gives Rose a chance to do something on number 44, John Harris. Harris got called for roughness.
44, defense. First and goal.
So the personal foul on Harris, setting the first and goal inside the 8. And Marino enjoying a splendid drive. He's 5 for 6 for 50 yards. The injury suffered by Rose. He's come back from a separated shoulder, although it is still bothering him. He's been considered Miami's receiving tight end. In that last alignment, it was a combination of Rose and Jensen at the tight end position. Timeout called by the Dolphins. 6 minutes, 7 seconds left. Third quarter. Miami, when we resume with the first and goal. A look from above the Orange Bowl here in Miami on a gorgeous day. Temperature in the 80s. Marv Albert with John Brody. And Miami leading Seattle by the score of 14-10. However, the Dolphins are threatening. First and goal from the 8 for Dan Marino, who is 16 for 26, 186 yards. That Moore.
You know what I've noticed, Marv, is he coming up to the line of scrimmage. Marino's licking his fingers like, hey, we don't care if you know I'm going to throw it or not. We got a one-on-one situation in Nat Moore, who runs a fine pattern, and I'm firing it.
And Nat Moore out of bounds at the 3. So Moore has come on and done very well in the absence of Mark Duper. It is now second and goal from the 3. That is Moore in motion. And Pete Johnson is stopped by Dino Mangiero, the nose tackle, stopping Johnson, who had succeeded in his 2 earlier drives picking up first down.
That's right. When they were in close, Miami was winning at the line of scrimmage. They did not on that occasion. Third and 3. Normally a throwing down. If they get within a yard, I would imagine on fourth down, they would try to go for it, because 7 points, there's still only 1 touchdown ahead. They need 6.
And Joe Rose is back at tight end.
He's going to run it in.
Well, no, he fires it. Incomplete. It was deflected, but a penalty flag throw. Jacob Green got a piece of it. against the Seahawks.
We saw Chuck gesturing for his group to stay low. Obviously, when it's first down on the 1-yard line, Jacob Green got a piece of this ball. We did not see who got called.
John, it appeared to be the left corner, Keith Simpson. Knox was complaining that the ball was deflected, and that should have negated the penalty.
That's right.
However, it is now a first and goal. They spot it at the 1. Off the call against Keith Simpson. And a big defensive play by Michael Jackson, stopping Woody Bennett. So Michael Jackson on the field because of the shoulder injury suffered by the right outside linebacker Greg Gaines, and we have not seen Gaines since back in the first half, but Jackson has come out and played well.
Well, you just don't know what kind of reaction Michael Jackson's going to have playing for the first time in quite a while, and he's rid all doubt.
This is the 13th play of this drive. This after the Seahawks controlled the ball the first 5 minutes of this third quarter. Second and goal at the 3. Reno had time. Touchdown. Bruce Hardy. Back in the lineup after he was shaken up moments ago. And a flag has been thrown.
It's a touchdown.
Oh, Kenny Easley is very upset. Easley all over the referee, Pat Haggerty. The flag against Seattle. So the touchdown stands, and the Dolphins move in front by the score of 20-10.
It's funny how many times, though, a reaction like that from a fellow like Easley gets everybody pumped up. They're down by 11. They need something to happen good for them.
And here is Von Schaman looking to add the extra point, and he does. 4 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in this third quarter. In the sunshine of the Orange Bowl in Miami, Marino connecting with the tight end Hardy, and the Dolphins lead the Seahawks by the score of 21-10. A couple of calls that the Seahawks have not agreed with, and it's a 13-play drive for 76 yards. Miami holding on to the ball for 5 minutes and 40 seconds, capped off by Marino to Hardy. Marino's second touchdown pass of the day. There's Bruce Hardy, who was on the ground just moments ago, shaken up off the hit by Easley. Terrific kickoff by Van Schaman, who, despite his problems place kicking, has done very well with the powerful leg on kickoffs throughout the season. And here's Dave Craig back on. Seattle starting out from their 20-yard line with 4:20 remaining in this third quarter. Just a reminder that later on we'll be selecting the Michelob Light Most Valuable Player for today's game. Don Shula and his Dolphins now leading the Seahawks by the score of 21-10. Terrific drive for Marino. Craig throwing, first down, and it's deflected. So Craig having some problems delivering the football. He had one batted back to him in that last series. He was looking for the tight end, Charlie Young.
Usually it happens when a man is getting pressure and there's not much space between the defensive lineman and the quarterback. On that occasion, it was just simply a case of betters and being 6'6", getting his hand in the right spot. That's why a quarterback needs a throwing lane when you're throwing inside.
And his betters, Baumhauer and Bokamper up front. Second down and 10. David Hughes found the opening to bring out across the 25 inside linebacker Mark Brown, who began the season as a starter, making the tackle. Brown then was benched. Trouble with pass drops, although excellent against the run, and he is now back as a starter.
Well, they finally decided he was such a plus as a tackler, and his good movement against the running game offset a few missed assignments in his drop.
And the two inside men, Brown and Brophy, have done the job thus far. 3rd down and 3.
About Darrell Turner's turn long.
3rd and 3 from the 27. And here is Craig going long. And it is incomplete. Byron Walker out of bounds on the reception. So the punting unit coming on. Apparently a flag thrown, yes, against Seattle. And of course declined by Miami. The hold indicated. A quickie drive by the Seahawks. And Jeff West, 9-year man out of the University of Cincinnati, dropping back to his 12-yard line. And here's Fulton Walker. West not a guy who will dazzle you with the high average, but he's put this 24 punts inside the 20. This is a short kick. Bad kick by West. And it's off John Kaiser, backup linebacker.
Good for 6 yards, I think.
Unofficially, we have it as a 14-yard punt by West, who, remember, started very fast. His first 2 punts were 50-plus. He's trying to shake this one off. Miami will take over at the Seattle 34-yard line.
The NFL plays here.
Pittsburgh battles Denver in the AFC Divisional Playoffs.
Our championship spot is on the line. Your team plays here on NBC.
I don't think Jeff West ever considered the possibility of the number of his uniform surpassing the punt distance, but they have changed the spotting of the ball, and it is now officially a 7-yard punt.
And it really puts a lot of heat on their defense now, because they're within 11. They're still within reach. If they get another touchdown, Miami, the door could fall out.
3 minutes, 10 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter. And the Dolphins' first down play, a little shake and bake by Woody Bennett for perhaps a yard. Joe Nash, the nose tackle. Inside linebacker Shelton Robinson combining. Bennett with 5 carries for 14 yards. It's been mostly Tony Nathan on the ground, and Dan Marino has picked it up, although he has been intercepted twice, but he executed a superb drive last time the Dolphins had the ball, capped off by the touchdown of Bruce Hardy.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little suggestion that he makes sure of the coverage a little more closely than he's accustomed to, because he's throwing outside to the open man.
2nd down play. And Marino throwing deep. Touchdown. Off the deflection, it's Mark Clayton. A 33-yard pass play. Clayton playing the deflection off the cornerman, Keith Simpson.
I take it back. There are no amount of defenders that I would keep from throwing the ball to Clayton about. Anytime he beat a one-on-one coverage that was absolutely perfect by Keith Simpson, he's beat double coverage. It doesn't seem to matter whether he's open or not.
And Uwe von Stammen adds the extra point as the Dolphins pull in front by the score of 28-10.
anytime you need a little help, you just go to Mark. Number 83 does not really beat Simpson, who takes a perfect angle on the ball. It looks as though he's in the perfect position to intercept it. Results of his... That's greatness.
Mark Clayton, a man who spent last year during the course of the playoff game with Seattle watching it from the sidelines. In fact, he caught only 6 passes last year, his rookie season, 8th-round draft pick out of Louisville. This year, 73 receptions and a record 18 touchdown passes. Dan Marino is now 19 for 29, 3 touchdowns.
He knows where the Super Bowl is.
And the kickoff by Von Schaman. Again, making it difficult to handle on the hop. It's Hughes out to the 20. So Hughes to the 22 with 2 minutes 16 seconds left in this third quarter. Charles Benson on the stop.
Hey, I know where the Super Bowl is located, but there's still a lot of ball game left here, and you can tell by the special team intensity just how much. That's nice. That's number 50, Fred Young. He's another man just like Kenny Easley. When he hits you, you stay stuck.
Important drive here for the Seahawks to see how they can react off the Dolphins jumping in front by the 18-point margin. Here's Craig, and he has Largent for the first down across the 40-yard line. It's a 19-yard pass play. Judson on the stop.
The sign of a good quarterback is when you are down by 17 or 18, as they are now, your quarterback never loses faith in his group. And you can see then they get a completion. Craig saying, hey, come on, fellas, let's get back in the huddle. Let's get humming. And it kind of filters through the whole squad.
Largent with 4 catches today for 107 yards, including a touchdown. First down at the 42. Craig has it deflected. Intended for Darrell Turner. And those big defensive linemen getting a lot of football.
And Darrell's also having a little trouble getting off the line of scrimmage and into the pattern a little deeper. When you're that congested with the defensive pass rush, it's very hard for the quarterback to find you, and they've had a little trouble there.
And Miami's killer bees with Betters at 6'7", and Baumhauer at 6'5", and Bokamper at 6'6", making things very difficult for Dave Craig. 2nd and 10. For the tight end, Charlie Young, who nearly came up with a beauty.
Charlie Young has not got the speed that many tight ends do and that he did in his early years. He's got excellent hands. He's come down with an awful lot of these kind of balls. But he didn't get that one.
And it sets up a 3rd and 10 at the 42. Minute 18 remaining, third quarter. Charlie Young, hampered early in the season by a pulled groin in his 12th year out of Southern Cal. That's Stanzi in motion. Craig had to rush it as Stanzi, but short of the first down. Paul Langford, the left corner, on the tackle of Paul Scanzi.
Now, I don't say that they should, but this is the time in a ball game where it looks like the outcome is starting to be determined, where one big play by Seattle could get them back in it. 4th down and 3, wouldn't be a bad time to have a go at it.
And the Dolphins have to feel very good about their defensive effort today. That's the question mark coming in, particularly against the run, but Brown Chuck has not gotten off to this point.
That's right. And remember, Miami's been in this position a lot. They've been way ahead, let teams catch up a little bit. They're not doing that right now.
All right, West coming off that 7-yard punt. Fair catch called by Walker, and the Dolphins take over at their 12-yard line. Tomorrow, it's the AFC Divisional Playoffs. Chuck Noll bringing the Pittsburgh Steelers into Mile High to face the big play Denver Bronco defense. So it comes right down to the wire. Join NFL 84 with host Bob Costas, and we'll start your day with special reports and features all tomorrow beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time right here on NBC. The Steelers and the Broncos. The Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. And Don Shula and his Dolphins in front of the Seahawks, 28-10, 39-yard punt by West. And Marino looking at a 1st and 10 from his 12. And he goes to the ground for Nathan. Out to the 18, Bruce Schultz, the outside linebacker, on the stop. So 2nd down and 4 off the 6-yard advance. Time running down in this 3rd quarter. And that is it at the end of 3. It's the Miami Dolphins 28, Seattle Seahawks 10. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
This game is brought to you by Today Chevrolet. See Today Chevy, drive Today Chevy, live Today Chevy. By Wang. Wang puts people in front of computers. And by AC Delco, the smart parts.
With John Brody, I'm Marv Albert. We welcome you back to the Orange Bowl in Miami. 80 degrees on a beautiful sunshine day in the Miami area. And for the Dolphins, it has been all that sunshine as they lead the Seahawks 28-10, looking to avenge last year's playoff defeat. A year ago to the day, just 2 days away, where the Seahawks knocked off the Dolphins in a surprise. Dolphins now just looking to maintain possession. Mark Clayton on the reception, hit out by Terry Jackson.
You better watch that because that's closing in. He's let his opinion be known on 3 or 4 occasions. That time it wasn't that big a deal, and I think you'll hear Don Shula take charge of that situation.
That is the 2nd debate that Clayton and Jackson have had.
Yep, well, take a look. Now, you make your own choice. Terry Jackson kind of throws him out of bounds, and it really wasn't a roughness play. He's looking at the official and can't get a call. I've seen 15 marked against teams that have thrown the ball like that.
Well, Terry Jackson, an aggressive player, and Mark Clayton, as we heard on the pregame in his chat with Bill McAtee, a guy who does not back away, even from his quarterback, Dan Marino. And Marino able to complete in the open field, the tight end, Bruce Hardy, showing some nice moves. And here we go. Keith Simpson got involved, as did John Harris, Kenny Easley.
You know, Kenny lost his helmet on the play, and the game is getting a little frustrating right now for those from Seattle. But you know what really was indicating to me is Easley got beat. He got beat a little. He was trying to catch up with Joe Rose, who he thought the ball was going to. It was thrown to Hardy instead. But number 61 is down there trying to protect his tight end. That's Roy Foster, the guard. You see, when a man's 30 yards downfield and he's playing offensive guard, you see a team that's still after it.
3rd catch of the day for Hardy. 3 catches, 48 yards in all for the tight end, including a touchdown. And here's Nathan. Nice move. Close to the 1st down. Easley and Harris on the stop.
So often when a game's 28-10, you see 8 and 9 yard gains by an offense that's starting to take control of the game, due mostly because the defense is trying to strip the ball. When you do that, you have to try and rip the ball out of a player's hands. This is Cleveland Green, who's done an absolutely fine job on Jacob Green, who we all know, and right there he caved him in, allowed Nathan to pick up 9.
Cleveland Green has taken over for the injured Eric Loxo at right tackle. 2nd and about 1.5 yards. And a straight ahead move by Woody Bennett and then some. Tackled by Terry Jackson. 1st down, Miami. A 14-yard run for Woody Bennett.
Seattle's pulling all the stops, trying to make a big play. If you lose a few yards doing so, that's the way it goes. This is a blitz. There's no defensive backs in a position to make the play. Now let's take a look at Kenny Easley. He's generally in a position to do some good from here. He's trying to get after whoever's coming his way. He overruns the play because he's in no position to make it.
2.5 gone by, fourth quarter. The Dolphins first down at the Seattle 25. And Marino overthrows Bennett. Linebacker Shelton Robinson on the coverage. So the second down upcoming. Marino has thrown for 3 to Cephalo, to Hardy, to Clayton. Nathan ran in from 14 yards. The Seattle scoring Craig to Largent on a 56-yard pass play and the 27-yard field goal by Norm Johnson. So the Dolphins with a 28-10 lead with 12 minutes and 15 seconds left in this fourth quarter. Moore to the left and Clayton right. And again to the ground, it's Nathan inside the 20. Easley on the stop.
Joe Rose, a man who's known for his receiving, hasn't had a lot of playing time of late. Also does an excellent job on Kenny Easley.
Third down and 4. And Nathan has outrushed the Seattle Seahawks. The ground chuck philosophy that beat the Raiders last week, not doing it today. Timeout has been called. Seahawks just not able to get going. A couple of good drives by Craig, but that has been it. Timeout has been called. We'll be right back. NBC Sports, Oklahoma and Washington in a game that could determine the national championship. Of course, folks at Brigham Young have their point of view, as do those at Oklahoma and Washington. The Huskies will face a wishbone for the first time in many a year. Third down and 4 for the Dolphins at the Seattle 19-yard line. 11.5 remaining, fourth quarter. Marino with time. Nathan not able to hold on.
I think one of the real top features of Marino is that he really never looks at the scoreboard until there are only 2 or 3 minutes left. You'll notice none of his thoughts changed. He's still attacking the defense, even though he's got an 18-point lead.
And you can hear the murmur in the crowd as Uwe von Schaman, who has been having himself a nightmare, missed his earlier attempt. So he's 9 for 20 on the season. He did miss from deep, miss from 43 in the first quarter.
Well, it may not be too important right now, but it could be later in the year.
37-yard attempt. And he has it. And as you say, that certainly could be a telling point for Schaman. That equals his season-long and has extended the Dolphin lead to 31-10, and Miami doing it in convincing fashion.
They're winning at the line of scrimmage on both sides, and that's something that the Seahawks have been priding themselves in of late. They've had the short end of the stick today.
David Hughes, Cullen Bryant awaiting the kickoff.
Cullen Bryant, number 32, and number 46, David Hughes at the goal line.
And here is Bryant to the 15. Nice return across the 30-yard line, run out by Charles Benson, who has excelled on special teams. And Seattle now with 11:18 remaining fourth quarter. There's Dan Marino, who has had himself another solid afternoon. He's 21 for 33, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Way under par, though.
Well, intercepted twice, not up to his 400-yard standard.
Yeah, well, we're
Dave Craig, first down from inside the 30. deflected. And he is really having his problems getting those passes over the front three. Looked like Better's got a piece of it.
Well, Betters gets real good surge, and then he stands around and makes it very tough to throw a screen over him. He knows where the quarterback's intending to throw the ball. You can tell by his eyes. And he's going right to that spot. He's been fortunate on 3 occasions, batting 3 of them back.
Betters, Bob Hauer, and Bo Camper have been superb up front. 2nd down and 10. Now Larkin out to the right. Craig looking that way. And just looking to get rid of the football. Hit Dorning, but stopped at the line by Mark Brown.
A.J. Dewey.
But they say, give me that football back. A.J. getting some playing time. It is a 3rd down and 9.
Actual attendance, 73,469.
73,469. The crowd here at the Orange Bowl, 73,469. The Dolphins, incidentally, with a record of 31-7 in games that have attracted over 70,000 to the Orange Bowl. And Craig able to connect with Turner, and he took a good hit. Short of the 1st down. Robert Sowell on the stop, and that is it for the Seattle drive.
If they have a fake punt, you'll see it. If it presents itself at all, I've seen Chuck Knox teams attack opponents that they feel they have to play very well against, and this is one of them. And yet they haven't gone for a 4th and 3 on occasion. Toward the end of the half, they were reluctant to try and put some points on the board, and it surprises me.
And here's Jeff West back at his 21. Got his ups and downs, a couple of 50 pluses. He had a 7-yard punt. Now Fulton Walker. And the good coverage by the Seahawks, but I think Fulton feeling a little bit better than he did a year ago when he fumbled twice in the late minutes. Don Dufek leading that coverage. Timeout. We'll be right back.
Plays, they're still after it the way they were the first series of the game, and it doesn't look as if anything's going to change.
And Miami back to the offense. 1st down, 34-yard line. Nathan and Bennett are the running backs out of the pro set. Here's Bennett. Slashing his way up near the 40. Michael Jackson on the stop. Bennett and Nathan have done the job. Mark Clayton has had a standout day. 120-49, the Dolphins outrunning the Seahawks, who never did get going. Last week, you recall, Dan Dornick pulling the surprise, career high 126 yards, but not able to do it today. 2nd down and 5. And that's Clayton in motion. Woody Bennett has the 1st down across the 45.
So these fellas offensively up front. Dwight Stevenson's had a big day. We haven't seen Joe Nash in the backfield making any of the plays that he's been accustomed to making throughout the year. And when you have an offensive line that's getting off on the ball the way they do, is taking charge the way they are, it's easy to run it. Take a look at Stevenson right now. Little slip block on Nash, then he goes right back out, handles Butler, and it's no problem.
Dwight Stevenson, the man that Bear Bryant called the best center he had ever coached, and considered to be the NFL's top center. Here's Bennett. He slipped and able to regroup to the 49. Picked up 2. It'll be a 2nd and 8. Keith Simpson on the stop. You know, the Seahawks in the second half ran for only 11 yards.
Well, when you're down as many as they were down, it's understandable. That and the fact that they're not moving anybody around up front.
We're down to 8 minutes remaining. in this fourth quarter, and the Dolphins with a 31-10 lead. Seahawks did get back into it. They moved within 4. They trailed 14-10 late in the second quarter. Here's Bennett again. Picked up a yard.
Tackled by 79,
Jacob Green on the stop. Not a happy man, Chuck Knox. And the Seahawks, a dejected group, a different story in contrast to what took place here at the Orange Bowl a year ago when the Seahawks came in and defeated the Dolphins by the score of 27-20.
When they needed it, they just haven't gotten the big play. Early in the first half, John Harris picked off 2 balls, looked like it gave him great opportunity. They were only able to convert 3 points from those turnovers, and I think that a turning point happened right about then.
Marino to the air, going deep. Terry Jackson on the coverage of Mark Clayton. So the fourth down play, bringing out a man we have seen very little of. The punter, Reggie Roby. His hang time is measured at 5.3 seconds. But Johnny claims he once hung one for over 6 seconds in practice. Do you believe this man?
I'll take his word for it. He's shown me enough.
Can you imagine to put one up for 6 seconds? Here's easily awaiting the Roby punt. Roby back at his 35, his 3rd punt of the day. And not a great one. Time could not get it up in the air, but prevents the running back, prevents the run back, and the ball spotted at the 16. It's a 23-yard punt. Seattle will take over with just under 7 remaining, fourth quarter. Post-game interviews from here and features focusing on the Giants and the 49ers. That's the post-game show following Miami and Seattle. Here's Craig, again deflected.
He hurt his arm on that one.
He just can't get his passes on.
Well, I think what he's having a problem throwing the ball to his right. Obviously, it's been because of Doug Betters, who's put on such a pass rush. I'll tell you what, Kreider's got his hands full trying to handle Betters today. Good pressure, and he got all the way there that time.
Doug Betters, the deadliest of Miami's killer bees, providing Chuck Knox with a very long afternoon. Betters in his 7th season out of Nevada, Reno. Out of Whitefish, Montana. Doug Betters. 2nd and 10. And Craig to give it another shot. This time he gets it off. And it's broken up. Ball was actually overthrown, but the deflection by Lyle Blackwood nearly gave Darrell Turner an opportunity to steal one.
Well, it's too little too late. Darrell Turner, who has been noted for his speed downfield, that's the first ball we've really seen go down the field to Darrell. And I'm sure Miami was aware. They played a deep zone with 2 players in the center field position. It's been hard for him to get there, but they didn't try it much either.
What does that do to Craig with the Betters and Baumhauer and Bokamper all over him throughout the day in terms of changing the delivery?
Well, what it does is it has an effect on whether or not he wants to go all the way down the field. It takes a little bit of time to get there, and these fellas defensively have just put too much pressure on him.
As you see, 3rd down and 10. Craig this time with the slingshot for Dorning. Short of the first down out of the 25. Mark Brown on the stop, and Craig very fortunate to get that one away. Again, Betters with the pressure.
All right, take a look at a man that's after some people today. Number 75, Doug Betters, has certainly been the outstanding player defensively, and I think he set the tone for the whole Miami defense today. We talked about most important players Marv. There's so many offensively for Miami, but I would certainly make him the standout. Those defensive guys don't get too many accolades anyway.
Well, he was one Dolphin particularly upset about the recent defensive problems, and the Dolphins stopped the Seahawks, Dorning short of the first down. So Miami will take over. Bob Brzezinski, the outside linebacker, on the stop. It's been a whipping, offensively and defensively.
All right. This is from the goalpost camera. You get a pretty good shot at whether or not a hole does open up. Although it looks like there might be a small hole to the right, Dornick was not close enough to it to take advantage. There really was nothing there.
5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter, and Miami leading Seattle 31-10. The Dolphins take over just inside the Seattle 25-yard line. That is Moore in motion, and here's Nathan. Only giving us a 360. Stopped by the right defensive end, Jeff Bryant. So for the Seattle Seahawks, season that saw them go 12-4 to finish second behind Denver in the AFC West. With the victory in the wild card over the Raiders last week, they made it 13-4. At one point, they won 8 straight games. And Tony Nathan hearing it from the crowd as he heads to the sideline. And I think we'll see Don Shula do some shuffling right here. Joe Carter, the rookie from Alabama, has come on. And Bennett did not get going, stopped by Michael Jackson.
You know, I think you were mentioning Seattle Seahawks at one time had an 8-game winning streak. They were taken out of this ball game by superior play, both offensively and defensively, by Miami. Chuck Knox, the job that he did without one of the really supreme running backs in the game, Kurt Warner going down in the first game, was really beyond the call. I don't think anybody expected them to be in the playoffs when that happened to Kurt, and they are. And they've been winning despite the odds throughout the year, and they've had a fine one.
And this man has been playing the hot hand in the backfield, and he's done it with the combinations of Dornick and Hughes and Eric Lane and Cullen Bryant, Randall Morris, Warner going down in that opening game, Paul Johns going down early. Here's the reverse for Carter. Stopped by Bruce Schultz. Joe Carter, 4th-round draft pick out of Alabama, playing for the first time this afternoon. Hasn't received consistent playing time. He actually has Miami's top 3 rushing games, but other times he's received very limited time. And here comes the relief man, Don Strock, to take over for Dan Marino.
I think he's just holding. I think Don did not know whether or not he was going to go for the field goal, but hey, I've seen 3 touchdowns scored in less time than this. It does not look as though it's going to happen, but give Uwe another go.
And this is another confidence kick. He hit from 37 earlier this fourth quarter. He missed from 43 in the first quarter. This again from 37 yards away. So much for confidence. The ups and downs for Uwe von Schaman continue. So he's 1 for 3 on the day, and he's now 10 for 22 for the season. What effect will this have next week?
It's so far beyond what he would imagine to be his worst performance that you can't say much. I don't know whether that's going to hurt him next week. He's had a whole year of it. So I don't think that Don Shula has kept him from kicking when they were in an either-or situation, but Don certainly can't feel very strong about it.
He had not attempted a field goal in 5 games prior to today. That following that 44-yard attempt against San Diego in overtime that did not click. And then he went 4 games without attempting one. Here's Craig running out of trouble and just running it out.
Craig runs out of bounds. Gain of 2 yards.
On the post-game show following the Dolphins and the Seahawks, a look at the NFC playoff game matching the Giants and the 49ers out at Candlestick in San Francisco. Close-up look, plus features on both ball clubs.
Tell you, it would take you about 4 hours to get a feature on the 49ers receivers this year, and some of the things they do. It's 15-1. I think it's gone kind of unnoticed, you know, in a year when so many teams have been outstanding, but San Francisco is one of them.
And the total yards tell part of the story. Craig unleashing, and Largent with the first down across the 35-yard line. Mark Brown on the stop. We're down to 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. Miami Dolphins will make it a overall record of 15-2. And Craig again hitting Largent short of the first down. And the Dolphins will face the winner of Pittsburgh and Denver. They will meet tomorrow in Denver. 3:30 Eastern Time here on NBC, getting underway with NFL 84. Closing in on 2 minutes remaining. And Craig connects with Scanzi across the 35-yard line. A 24-yard pass play. And the Seahawks will have a first down at the Miami 33. 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining, and a timeout has been called. So the Dolphins will host the winner of tomorrow's Denver-Pittsburgh game next Sunday, January the 6th, for the AFC Championship. A look back at the scoring with Miami in front by the count of 31-10. Johnson field goal, cutting it to 7-3. Cephalo from Marino. Miami with that 14-3 lead. Seattle coming back. Craig combining with Largent. 14-10 the score at halftime. And then the Dolphins broke it open. The tight end Hardy getting on the score sheet. 21-10 Dolphins in the third. They extended to 28-10 on that 33-yard deflected pass that was hauled in by Mark Clayton. And then Van Schamen hit from 37 to make it 31-10. And that's where we stand.
Tickets cost $25 for sunlight seats, $20.
And the Seahawks will have a long plane ride back home to Seattle.
There aren't any short ones, no matter how far they are, if you're on the wrong side of that scoreboard.
Seattle first down at the Miami 33. And it's Gorney who fumbles. Dolphin players indicating that they take possession, and they do. Charles Benson on the recovery. Second-year man out of Baylor, who has played primarily on special teams in at left defensive end, and you'll see him pick it up off the fumble by Dorning.
Yeah, this kind of incidental. Dan trying to make something happen, gets the ball batted away.
And right now, here comes another one of those fantastic Niners and Giants. Stay with us. Remember, that kickoff will not get underway till just past 4 o'clock.
Pete Johnson's
And we'll take a look at both ball clubs. Pete Johnson on the carry. Sam Merriman making the stop. Miami congratulating each other on the sideline. And the Michelob Light most valuable player for today's game. There he is, Doug Fetters. Outstanding play at the left defensive end. So Doug Fetters of the Dolphins, the MVP, and Michelob Light will donate $1,000 to the United Way on behalf of the 7-year man from Novato, Reno, Doug Fetters. The Dolphin defense turning it around here this afternoon. And Don Sprock now running the ball club. Angry exchange between a couple of Dolphins and Seahawks. So there are the final stats on Marino.
On the tackle is 51.
Just another day at the office. Not for Dan Marino a sensational day, but he threw for 3, picked off twice, 262 yards. And Don Strock, who was only 4 for 6 for 27 yards in relief of Marino, has come on. Strock is Miami's relief pitcher. He has spent his entire career with the Dolphins as the backup. His finest moment, that classic overtime playoff loss to San Diego 3 years ago. He brought Miami back from that 24-0 deficit, but right now just running the clock down. 20 seconds remaining. Pete Johnson on the carry, and that will do it. Michael Jackson covers it up, and the Dolphins avenging the playoff loss a year ago, losing to the Seahawks here last year, 27-20, and they do it convincingly today by the score of 31-10 to advance to the AFC Championship game next Sunday against either Pittsburgh or Denver.
And I think the one thing they answered is that their defense is good enough to play great in a big game. They seem to have the enthusiasm back that some people thought they were lacking earlier in the year. And I don't know where you go to beat them.
Well, they have the difficulties against the Colts and the Eagles. Against the Colts in the first half. And then they called that players meeting before the final regular season game against Dallas to clear the air. And they did come together against the Cowboys.